Welcome, everybody. Welcome back to, I don't know why I stopped at welcome. Welcome back to the Planet Film Network. I am one of your hosts, Sean Monk.
I'm your other host, TJ Cornwell.
And tonight we are going to be back with you guys talking about Peacemaker Season 2, Episode 2 that came out last Thursday. We are going to discuss it, but before that, we have some other semi-breaking, as of a few hours ago, DC news. And then we're going to talk about how that's affecting some of the upcoming movies that we're looking forward to the most. So if you guys have not joined us or watched us live before, we have a call-in show. So right up there, it says call in below. There's a link down in the description, also in the chat, if you want to give your quick thoughts on Peacemaker Season 2, if you want to give your thoughts on the announcement from James Gunn that happened just a little bit ago. Click that link there and you can join. Just make sure that your microphone is on and your camera is set to off. But that link is in the chat right there. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into our first kind of topic here. And that is, boom, Man of Tomorrow. Not Superman Man of Tomorrow, but Man of Tomorrow. This is tweeted out or skeeted out on Blue Sky and on Threads by James Gunn, although I think he is still on Twitter too. But he put this out just about 4 hours ago. I think it was around like maybe 3 or 4 o'clock our time. But this went out from James Gunn. It was then reshared, and different variations of art featuring Lex Luthor in the power suit with David Corenswet's Superman, obviously a very comic book version of them, not based on the actors or anything like that. Was shared 2 other images by 2 different comic creators. This one here that I have is Jim Lee. And then people like Isabella Merced, Nathan Fillion, Aaron Pierre, a lot of people have been sharing this. And then obviously when James Gunn initially put it out, it just said, coming exclusively to theaters, Man of Tomorrow, July 9th, 2027. So before we kind of look at how this shake things up with what we can expect in 2027, what are your thoughts on this news? I know he's been teasing this a while, the next entry in the Superman saga. But what are your thoughts overall on this news, this image coupled with the news? What are your thoughts on all of this right now?
Yeah, I'm excited for that. I really liked Superman. I think I liked it more than Fantastic Four. I think it was kind of between like that and Thunderbolts for me, for like those 3 kind of big-ish superhero movies. They all came out kind of around the same time. I like the artwork. I think that looks really cool. I'm surprised they put a date on it. Honestly, I feel like obviously, things can move around and everything, but just, I mean, all right, I guess that's what we're aiming for. Like, you really want to get out on that exact date. Wouldn't shock me if it moved, obviously, back. And do you think this is possible? This is a question for you. Do you think it's a possibility that maybe this movie is like, and I don't know how they work, because right now, technically, we're in the, what did you call it? The Gods and Monsters.
Gods and Monsters, Chapter 1. DCU Chapter 1, Gods and Monsters.
Right. Do you think there's a possibility that this like maybe signals the next chapter per se or something like that? Not saying that it has to coincide with the Superman movie, but obviously we're getting the Clayface movie, which is currently shooting. Supergirl, is probably in post-production. I think that's true. So maybe, and I don't even know what's in between there. Like, obviously we have Peacemaker right now, but like, I know they had a plan for a few things, but then there's been like, no, that's not happening.
Rattling off the top of my head right now, I think we're looking at we have Peacemaker for the next like month and a half.
Right.
Then the very next thing is going to be Lanterns, which is going to be, I think people are thinking like May, June for HBO.
Lanterns, right.
That's going to be the immediate next thing, only based on the fact that Lanterns started filming before Supergirl did. So I'm thinking that would maybe come first. Also, TV is just usually faster anyways. And then obviously Supergirl, we know, is coming out July again, 2026. And
Mhm.
then after that, we have Clayface is October 2026. And then that's when if we want to pull this up, that's when we tip over into 2027.
Mhm.
So a lot of these on this graphic here don't have a ton of or there's no dates on here, but just broadly, basically, then July is going to be Man of Tomorrow, and then October is going to be the Batman Part 2. And then if you want to talk about could this movie end up being pushed, I don't even know where you push it, because this is the entire rest of the year
Mhm.
is just jam packed with stuff. Although I do feel like, sorry, go ahead, and then I'll say my point about this lineup.
No, I was just like, I'm just thinking like those projects you listed, like, it again, it's just kind of a glaring to me. Clayface is just a glaring um project in that list where
Mhm.
it's just like I just don't see where that fits
Well, can
in.
I say this?
Yeah.
I think it's important to remember that in the crawl for Superman, it said 300 years ago the first metahumans emerged, ushering in a new era of gods and monsters
Right.
on Earth.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of the people in the Superman saga are looked at as gods.
Yeah.
Is Clayface not looked at as a monster?
No, I
You know what
100%.
I mean?
And
I think,
I don't mean
yeah.
like he's not. I just mean like, okay, we have lanterns
You
and then
mean
we have
how does it fit narratively?
right,
Like,
exactly.
what is Clayface
And
the building block of?
I think I might start subscribe to the idea that we start to just pull things out of the Batman universe. Like, as far as like if you
Mhm.
like Robert Pattinson, if you really want it, like you've already done a few things already where you've retconned, like obviously like we saw that scene in the first episode of Peacemaker where
Yeah.
it's like they got rid of the Justice League and it's
Mhm.
Superman and Supergirl and the Justice Squad. Why couldn't you just pull things out of the Robert Pattinson universe? You give them the part 2 and then you say, okay, let's just pull, you want to keep Robert Pattinson. Okay, we'll pull him out and we'll pull out Andy Serkis and Zoe Kravitz, etc.
Yeah.
And then you just go and add them to the universe,
Mhm.
It doesn't, again, I get it doesn't really make sense narratively, but like Clayface to me seems like it belongs in that universe.
What do you think about
As little as I know about that movie.
what do you think about, like, this notion that um maybe the Brave and the Bold has kind of become the Batman 2, or that the
Yeah.
Batman 2 has kind of morphed together, because we know that it's
Yeah.
about Bruce and Damian, the Brave and the Bold. That was what he announced. He said it would be Bruce Wayne as a Caped Crusader with his protege and son,
Mm-hmm.
Robin, Damian Wayne. That's the little blurb that he said. And then we have heard, Matt Reeves talked about years ago that he would be 100% interested in having a Robin. Now, obviously, the last 6 months, there's been a ton of, rumors and everything like that, leaks of, the people
Mm-hmm.
that have read the script or not read the script, but that Robin will be in the Batman Part 2. Do you think that all of this, like, kind of slowness on Matt Reeves and stuff, I know that there has been some personal stuff, but do you think Matt, how much of this script for Brave and the Bold can you absorb into your project to
Yeah.
make it work? You know what I mean? Do you think there's like
Yeah.
a possibility of that? Or do you think it's just we're still going to fully get the Batman 2 with maybe even a Robin, but then we're going to get the Brave and the Bold with another Robin, a year or two later?
Yeah, I think that's possible. I'm also just remembering the fact, like, just going back to Clayface real quick, like he's in Creature Commandos. So, me saying like, oh, it doesn't really belong in this unit. It just seems like, again, I'm just thinking like the gritty, street
Yeah.
level kind of movie that it seems to, just from those images that we've seen, I would say, of the set, it seems like it would belong in the Batman universe.
Yeah.
But like you said, like, yeah, maybe they just combine them and they're just like, hey, Batman Part 2 like is now like Brave and the Bold is now just the Batman Part 2, and
Yeah.
we just kind of because they're making references to Gotham. Like I just said in Peacemaker episode 2, like they make a reference to the city. So clearly it's at the front of mind, I would say, of how they want to incorporate that. It's just how they go about doing it. I think you get.
Did we lose him?
Oh, sorry. I'm still here.
Or did you lose me?
I think I lost you for a second.
Oh, okay. All right. I think we're good. I think we're good.
I think you get into trouble though when you start to have, depending how long the Batman goes on, like if Robert Pattinson wants to keep playing this character, I think you run into issue when you just have two universes that are like going alongside each other. Not saying like people can't tell the truth, like tell the difference or anything like that, but like I don't know. It just seems it would work better if it was just one coherent universe rather than two things running simultaneously. I don't know. And again, like when did the first one come out? 2022.
Yeah, 2022.
Yeah, so like it's been so long since that first one.
It'll be basically almost exactly 5.5 years.
Yeah, Pattinson will be what? How old is he now? Like
I think he's 39. Yeah, so he'll be like 41.
I can't imagine he's gonna want to play this character like for that long, you know.
Yeah. Or if he is, I think it's like a buy-in. It's like, listen, if you want me to be Batman, like start bringing these checks. Like I'll be the Batman in the DCU, but like don't just like ask me to come out of the cupboard every 5 years. You know what I mean? Like, and I know that obviously throughout all this, you know, Rob has been super, super, you know, we're just waiting on Matt. You know, like we're just everything is gonna be, you know, once Matt's ready, we're gonna do it. And I know Colin Farrell was too, and he had that little thing to say about it today, where he was like, "Yeah, I'm in it, but I have you know, just a little thing. You know, Oz just has kind of a little part to play."
Yeah, and there's that you know, then there's that thing that Zoe Kravitz isn't in the movie at all, which is insane to me.
Which I believe that the In Snyder himself, I believe that is what he heard. And he even said as much, where he's like, I never said that she wasn't in it.
Right.
I just am telling you what people were told. And I believe that a publicist said that. I don't believe that she's not in the movie.
I think that'd be insane if she was not in it. Crazy. But yeah, I think at some point we might start to see where they're just kind of, and maybe again, part 2 is so far away. Like I would imagine he wants to introduce Batman before that. So maybe we get like a casting or something for the DCU Batman version. I don't know, but I could see them maybe pulling characters if they want.
That's the thing, is like now that we have, well, we've always had the release date of October, but now that we're getting even closer to the Batman 2, which I love. We started talking about, well, I guess we were talking about DC. Yeah. But I was like, I forgot that we were even talking about the Superman thing.
Yeah.
But now that we're on the Batman Part 2, I completely forgot where I was going with that. But anyways, I think it'll be interesting to see how it all ends up shaking out. I think, you know, like I said, it could be, I was saying it when I glitched out there for a second, could be something as simple as the entirety of the Batman 2 happens, and then Alfred is, you know, I've got a letter from Metropolis.
Yeah.
Looks like young Mr. Kent wants an interview.
Yeah.
I'll take a look at it. You know, that like with the sunglasses on.
Right.
I literally think it could be that easy. And it's like all the details, everything else can work themselves out. You know, it's like people act like, well, this person's playing this in this world, this person's playing this in another world. And I think that we should remember that even if you wanted to say, well, the set pictures from Clayface, it's clearly a different Gotham. Mm-hmm. Well, I'd like to remind everybody that for about 7 years, Avengers Tower just completely disappeared from New York in the MCU. It was just gone from the skyline, and they could go, well, we were showing different parts of the skyline. Well, it still would have been there. So I think even if it was something as, you know, even if it was the excuse of, well, it doesn't even look like the same Gotham. The MCU doesn't even keep its architecture straight whether it's fictional or the real life.
Mhm.
So I really think that anything can be possible at any moment. It's really not until they say something definitive in the DCU about Batman that things would start to get a little harder, to
Yeah.
make that move happen. But also, I'm at the point where we're getting the Batman too, so I'm happy with that. And if Rob is the Batman in the DCU, I'll be happy. And if all we get is 2 Batman movies, then I'll also be happy with that. And I'll be excited for a new actor to take on Batman, which has happened throughout our entire lives, has happened throughout every living person on the planet
Mhm.
has lived with a live action Batman. Every single person alive, and it will be that long after we're gone. So it's like 5-6 years that Robert Pattinson was Batman. I'll take it. It was
Yeah.
only 2 movies, but some Batmans only got 1 movie. So it's
Right.
I'm happy with it. Either way, but my heart wants it to keep going just because the cast is so good. As amazing as the city is, and the vibes that Matt Reeves brings to it, and the production design, it's really the characters and the actors that make you fall in love with that movie, more than even the incredible visuals. So I'm excited for that. I'm excited for the Superman news. Any last thing on Superman, man? Or I gotta stop calling it Superman Man of Tomorrow. It's just Man of Tomorrow.
Yeah.
And we got 5 people watching us right now. If you guys have thoughts on the Superman news or the not quite Superman sequel news, let us know in the live chat right now what your thoughts are on it. But anything else on Man of Tomorrow? Or do you think? What do you think? Does it have anything to do with the fact we had Supergirl was Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, then we dropped the Woman of Tomorrow, and now here the Man of Tomorrow kind of springs up in its place. Also, she's not in the artwork, but this is not the just necessarily Superman saga. David Zaslav also referred to it as the Super Saga. We
Mhm.
know that we have Supergirl. Are we going to see Supergirl in this movie? Maybe, even though it is called Man of Tomorrow. And is Superman even the Man of Tomorrow that they're referencing, or is it going to be Lex turning a new leaf or something like that?
I don't know. I guess we'll have to find out. I think it's possible that she would be in it.
Yeah,
I don't really know where else. And obviously, we only have a certain amount of projects announced at this point. But I don't know where else they would want to put her after
yeah,
her movie. So
yeah, exactly. Where would be like the next like logical place for her to show up? I'm not
Mhm.
sure, but she would be a all right. One, I just had this last thought, and then we're gonna move on to Peacemaker. Actually, I'm gonna pull up that 2027 graphic real quick again. But last thought on the DC stuff. Do you think Lanterns is a great spot for her to make a quick appearance in? It's gonna be coming out right before her movie. It's a big, long 8-episode show. She can pop up in the last episode or in the first episode or something like that. Um, or even maybe just a post-credit scene or something like that. Do you think it's possible that we could see another shot at Millie Alcock before Supergirl hits theaters?
Yeah, I think it's possible, but like I said, I don't know
Yeah. Yeah,
specifically.
it's just so hard to tell. I wonder if we'll get somebody like Rick Flag in that show,
Mhm.
in that Lantern show. That would be something that would be pretty interesting. Because obviously we know we are getting one Peacemaker alum, and Guy Gardner is going to be in that show.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd like to see just how connected to everything that Lantern show is. Real quick on the 2027, do you have a quick top 3 here? If you had to pick out 3, not necessarily that everything else goes away, but just pick out 3 here that you're most looking forward to.
Zelda, Batman, and mm, let's say, oh, man, this is tough. That third one. I'll say Beyond the Spider-Verse.
Beyond the Spider-Verse over Secret Wars.
Yeah. Yeah, I would have to go with track record right now. Because those
Yeah,
first 2 movies have been really, really good.
true.
Even though I didn't like the second one as much, but
Hmm.
Marvel has proven to me lately that they're going to be able to land the plane with that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd have to go.
Neither is Star Wars, actually, for that matter.
Yeah. Did you say Starfighter?
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay, yeah. I'd probably have to go Secret Wars. I would go. Probably Passion of the Christ. No. I would probably say Secret Wars. I would probably then say, ooh, I'll go Starfighter. I'll go Starfighter. And then very tentatively, but very hopeful, I will say The Hunt for Gollum.
Mm.
But very cautiously optimistic about that one. But yeah, I mean, a ton of good ones on there. Obviously, you'd expect if you're a longtime fan of this channel that I would go with the GXK movie. Obviously, I'm excited for Supernova as much as the next, but I've got 4 great GXK movies that already exist. Plus 2027 is already going to give me Monarch season 2, so I'm happy about that. But yeah, Shrek 5, even Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2. I'm excited for that. I really am. That first one was great. And then obviously, I didn't want to repeat all of TJ's picks, but Batman, Spider-Man, I mean, I'm beyond excited for both of those movies. And to finally get both of those movies. But yeah. All right, guys. So let's go ahead and transition here. Let's see how seamlessly I can do this. 1 and 2. Look at that. Boom. Now we're in Peacemaker mode. Welcome everybody back to the channel. If you are watching this with just the Peacemaker portion, this is a portion of our bigger show that we do most Wednesdays. Definitely when a huge show like Peacemaker is on, we like to get on and talk about it all the time. But this is a part of our bigger show called Planet Film Live, as you can see at the top there. But for everybody joining us live, we are about to dive into talking about Peacemaker Season 2, Episode 2. So yeah, let's just go ahead and dive in. We're going to talk a little non-spoiler, and then we're going to talk mostly spoilers towards the end. TJ, Episode 2, Season 2, Episode 2. What were your initial thoughts? A man is only as good as his bird.
Yeah, that was a solid episode. I like to see a little bit more Rick Flag Sr. in the beginning. I thought that was really good to see.
Yeah.
I thought getting the whole kind of band back together in one place was a good sign. I love seeing them all together and interact. They all kind of had their little moments, I would say, which I thought was really cool to see. I thought that Eagly fight scene was awesome. And I liked Tim Meadows. I just think at some point, like, you can tell too many jokes where it's like, okay, like we're just telling jokes now to tell jokes. Like, it's got to be like it's got to come naturally. And like a lot of what he was saying at points just did not feel, especially when he was talking to Economos.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, like can we just like move on? Like, I get it. He's being funny, but like I'm not laughing. So let's just keep going. So that was probably my like only really real gripe, I guess, with the episode. And I thought the end left us in a really interesting place. I kind of rethought my predictions from last week, but I also am like, oh, it's still possible. Basically what I said, I was like, I think the other universe, I think his dad and his brother, I think they could still very well be evil. Like, it's not like a done deal. Like, just because his suit's blue doesn't mean he's not still like a racist, terrible person or anything like that. It's just he's rocking a different color.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, I had a good time with this episode.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this episode as it from its story standpoint and from kind of the transitional episode that it shows that kind of Chris, and I think in this great scene with everybody, that Chris is both at the same time the glue of this group and also feels like he's simultaneously not worthy of having a friend group like this, and also that he expects more from them. And I think that is like a great way to kind of transition us to this point at the end of the episode where Harcourt has kind of, because she's going through her own stuff, obviously, which we've been dealing with this season so far, is, I think that getting him to the point where he is ready to, James Gunn and that I don't know if you've been watching the Peacemaker podcast that they do after this, but it's really, really interesting stuff. It's basically just like any of the HBO after shows, but a full like 50-minute sit down, and it's always James Gunn, Steve Agee, Jennifer Holland, and then one other star that rotates, or one other, or sometimes they'll have even because they did it for season 1. They went back like about a month ago, and they started doing episodes for the season 1 episodes recorded now, like looking back. And they even had a couple of the directors of photography and a couple of the cinematographers for the first season on there. But yeah, James Gunn, or I think actually it was Jennifer Holland who described that last shot of Chris sitting there with the text on the phone, that he's like the shot of his shoulders is him like settling into the universe, that it's like, it's to show the audience that like he's not running back out this time. He's staying here. And I think all of that was really, really interesting and really fun to watch. And I liked Tim Meadows, and I liked the idea of this kind of bumbling level of Argus team before probably, Rick Flag has to step in himself in later episodes. But I will say, I think I never even finished Creature Commandos, and I know that I had like 2 episodes left. Which I'm just like, I'll go back and watch, but I know what happened because I've watched so many, explainer videos and stuff like that, whatever. And I'll tell you why in a second. It just didn't have the like. It felt almost like a Diet Dr. Pepper Suicide Squad. You know what I mean? And I know that partially that's the intention is that this is Task Force M for Monster instead of X for, X-Con or whatever. But some of the dialogue just felt a little stilted to me in that show. And I got to say, I had this horrible pain in my chest that I had that same feeling watching this episode. And I was like, and I'll tell you what, it's not even the Tim Meadows stuff, which to me also got a little like, it was kind of like
specifically for just real quick for me, when they're in the truck and
when he's eating,
they're talking about Pokemon, and he's like, well, you were learning that. I had these 2 bitches sucking my dick. I'm like, okay, like it's like I didn't need that.
Yeah, and I want to point out, I'm sorry, is it Wakas or Wakis?
I think so.
Khan, watching right now, said, love the episode. John Cena has improved a lot in terms of his acting. Well, if you want to, you can go ahead and click the link in the chat. You can call in with your audio only and let us know your quick, about a minute. We'll let you go on about your thoughts about this episode in more detail if you'd like. And then we'll discuss your thoughts right after it if you want to click that link there. But I agree with you. I mean, like I just said, the dialogue is not the acting. And even that being said, the dialogue to me wasn't like that even throughout the entire episode. But it was that Tim Meadows moment in the truck with Economos. And it was, I'll tell you what it was Chris and Adebayo on the steps outside of his house. When he said, just 40 of us freaking going and doing a little dance number, and you're the king of good conversations. I was like, what are we doing?
It sounded like one of those things.
I was like, is this an outtake?
I really shouldn't say this because it makes me sound like I'm like 15 years old or something, but it sounded like one of those like things that somebody posts in a top 5 cringiest moments on TikTok, where it's like a moment captured on video by some high schooler, and it's like, look how stupid this guy sounds, or something like that. That's exactly what that sounded like, and I completely agree. Like, it was like, okay, let's just keep going. Like, just stop talking.
It's like you're shining too much of a light on it. You know what I mean? And it's ideally, I think, because I think it's no doubt my brain is gonna bing, it's about to zigzag real hard, but I'm gonna get back to it. A big issue is that people are like, Kevin Feige's stretched too thin. He can't be on set every day. Ideally, Peter Safran and James Gunn should never see each other. Because if James is filming Superman, Peter Safran should not be on set of Superman. He should be on set of Peacemaker. If James Gunn is on set of Lanterns, Peter Safran should not be on set of Superman. He should be on set of Peacemaker. If James Gunn is on set of Superman, he should be on set of Superman. He should be on set of Peacemaker. If James Gunn is on set of Lanterns, Peter Safran should not be on set of Superman. He should be on set of Peacemaker. then Peter Safran should be on the set of Supergirl. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
They need to keep a watchful eye on everything. And honestly, to me, I think what this episode felt like, and again, I liked the episode. I probably even loved the episode just because everything we got with all these characters, I could just watch an episode. I could watch 10 hours of this quality episode with these people. I'd be perfectly happy. And I would go, okay, that was a little disappointing for an HBO show and what I'm used to from James Gunn. But I still, enjoyed it. I know that the broader internet would probably not be happy, but I would still enjoy it. But my point being, this episode felt a little bit like the inmates were running the asylum. It felt a little like, okay, are we just rolling the camera and having some fun? Or are we like what's going on? But then also, like you said, excellent moments right at the start with the flashbacks to the Suicide Squad, with Rick Flag Sr. reading out the report. I thought the walk and talk, which I know you're a big fan of the Aaron Sorkin walk and talk, the little walk and talk with Economos and Flag at the beginning, I thought gave us some good exposition to get us caught up with kind of how the transition happened at Argus that we talked about a little last week. And I just thought it was some really fun, light banter between those two guys, that I would have liked to see that lightness with the Tim Meadows scene. But I feel like partially to James Gunn and to a lot of people and to even me for most of the jokes, I think what makes Tim Meadows funny in this is that he's so like heavy with his humor. He like says something and then makes you sit in it.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like you can only sit in that for too much time. Another thing, and then I'll throw it back to you for whatever you want to do. We don't have to talk about Tim Meadows the whole time, but obviously he's a huge new character on the show, so we're going to talk about him a decent amount. What I thought actually really worked for me was the nickname scene. And I know a lot of people were like, oh, it was a little cringy and over the top, but and somebody was like, that should have been in like a Predator movie. And I'm like, yeah, I feel like that kind of worked for me. That it's like they're just going to look in this guy's closet, but he's like, listen, if things get crazy out there, you're this. I need you to have my back. Like, like I thought that was funny, but the Economos, I thought it dragged too.
I thought that and the kind of preceding scene before that when they're waiting to go in the house when he's leaving and he's like, oh, they might come back, and then they go on this whole freaking thing about like, what is a housewarming gift and when do you bring a housewarming gift, and it's some of those things where it's like you should have like maybe you could have left the joke like 10 seconds earlier. Like it's sometimes it's specifically this episode I feel like is what it's suffering is like some things just go on for way too long. Like as far as joke wise, it's just like you're okay. Like, and I know a lot of people have this complaint with just James Gunn humor in general. It's like it can just overtake you and overtake whatever you're watching. And you're like, okay, I need something other than this.
It can overpower the meal.
Exactly. And I think that's what kind of happened in this episode. And I think we're kind of moved on to spoilers and stuff. And this isn't really a spoiler. But a very stupid nitpick that I had. So if you watch the first episode, spoiler, Chris kills himself from the other dimension. In this episode, he takes his phone. Now, what I did like is when he tried to text Harcourt from that universe.
It didn't go through.
It doesn't go through. But something that really annoyed me is when he went to go text her, there was no messages ever before. That was the first message ever. I was like, that's not, I was like, no. That's not what happened. Okay. Like, where are the text messages before whatever happened with that universe's couple? That's just something that really irked me. And I was like, that's just not like, just, put something in there, like something.
You know what I would have done as I'm not saying I'm smarter than James Gunn. I would have made it an Apple Watch.
Or that.
Because then he can text her that. Because then it's like maybe he doesn't find Peacemaker's phone, but maybe he's wearing a smartwatch.
Yeah.
And maybe that because then it's like, okay, he can still look through the contacts. He can still type out the text. He can still see the typing. You can still get the text in.
Yeah.
But you would believe it that there's not this huge, because I can understand from a practical standpoint. You're like, well, if there was this huge backlog of text, what's going to make more sense to the audience that he wouldn't text her first. He would sit there and read everything.
Right. Exactly.
But it's like, but I understand it's like, well, that doesn't work for the pace of the story that they're trying to tell. But that's why I'm saying then the workaround could be just have it be a smartwatch. So you're not looking at the long thing. You're just using it as,
and they make it a point to show him go into the contacts, find her contact, click the message. And I'm sitting there like, oh, there's going to be this whole block of text and it's just blank. I'm like, okay, well, that's not what would happen. Let's be honest here. But yeah, like I know just one other quick thing, the Eagly scene, which we didn't really touch on. I know that was all really fun, really well done. I was honestly waiting for him to get shot. I'm glad he didn't. I thought it would be, again, in the back of my head, I'm like, they're not really gonna hurt this eagle. Let's be honest. Oh, another joke. What'd you think of the bird blindness thing?
I thought that was funny, and I liked, again, funny, but I think it was over-explained.
I agreed.
But that being said, I could even see if I'm playing devil's advocate. We have a caller here. We'll get to that in a second. If we're playing devil's advocate, I did think that that it just being this long thing, that all these scenes being long, I did think it was funny that when the shit got real, like the sentence that he said was all of the different bits like strung together.
Yeah.
Like he called him by the nickname. He said, I can't tell the size of this bird.
Yeah.
Damn my bird blindness. Damn my bird blindness or whatever. Like I thought that was funny that he was like, Cupid doll, I'm sorry. It's my bird blindness. Damn. Like I did think it was funny the way his delivery on that. But yeah. All right. We do have a caller here. We got regular. Oh, and we just lost the caller. Oh, and we got it back. Caller, you want to mute and unmute yourself so I know that you are ready, and then we'll bring you in to give your thoughts on Peacemaker. All right, perfect. So we have Shelly joining us this week again on the show. Thank you so much for calling in. I see that we have 9 people watching us right now. We have a caller in right now, but you could be the next caller. Click the link in the live chat, and it'll bring you right into our studio. So make sure that you have your microphone on and your camera set to off. Shelly, are you with us?
Yeah, I was just having trouble with it on my phone for some reason, but I think I'm good.
No problem. All right. And what are your thoughts on Peacemaker Season 2, Episode 2?
And this is spoilers, right?
Yes, you go ahead and go full
okay.
spoilers. So
I want to say it before anybody else does, and maybe you think I'm crazy, especially we're only on Episode 2, but since it was brought up for the first time finally about what happened to Rick Jr., any chances that the Peacemaker that got burned up could have been the one that killed Rick Flag Jr.?
In what way?
So it wouldn't actually be the Peacemaker we know and that is running around like who we know him to be, but yeah, and for all we know, because we are only on Episode 2, there could be more dimensions of them out there, and one of them could have been the one that killed Rick Flag Jr. Because now you got Senior going around trying to kill Chris or whatever he's going to do to him, because he knows now that he's the one who killed his son for whatever the reason. He saw the video or whatever, so he knows how it happened, and it was really self-defense. But at the same time, it's like, he's going to be pissed, know? So the first thing I thought of when they went in and they were taking care of the body was, what if he was the one who did it? Or we're getting more Peacemakers in different places. I mean, we've got 10 more episodes to go. You know what I'm saying? And I just feel that in the end, it's not going to, because, people, I feel like it's got to be proven that our Chris is not the one that did it in the first place. And then that way he's kind of off the hook, and they have to convince Senior about it or something along those lines. But I feel like it's not going to be this Chris. I think it's going to be somebody else.
Yeah. Or even if it was this Chris and they just have to convince Flag that it was another one, and that's how Chris gets
out of it. Which would that'd be something that would happen as well.
Yeah. I would say if they were gonna switch it like that, I think they'd have to do a lot of gymnastics to make that work, because they've already mentioned in this episode, like Adebayo's like, oh yeah, you killed his son. He's like, oh
yeah.
They'd have to. I think they might have to retcon like.
But I could see him trying to blame it on one of the other ones just to get out.
No, that's definitely possible.
That would make more sense.
Blame for sure.
Yeah.
What do you think about? And TJ, I want to get your thoughts on too. This is kind of going off of what we said in the last episode. But Shelly, what are your thoughts on Keith's comment about Harcourt dating that jarhead? Do we think that Rick Flag Jr. could be alive on the other Earth, and not only alive, but dating Amelia Harcourt and possibly being in this show later on this season?
Very possible. I mean, there's a lot of Christines out there and different things in the MCU. Yeah. So obviously that's possible. I mean, it's just going to be like another version of Multiverse of Madness kind of process and everything. So, totally it can happen, Yeah, I mean, I could totally see that. I felt like, boy, I was listening to you guys talking about sort of how the episode was shot this time, almost like he just put the camera there, especially for their like party and stuff. I'm telling you, Harcourt brought me so down. She's just so depressed that it was making me, I just couldn't. I was like, get her off the screen. It was just so hard. And then them having their interaction, it's just the whole thing. It just was like, oh, come on, just bringing me down big time. But I mean, it's possible that just, anything's possible with these dimensions and realms and portals and whatever that.
Yeah, he does say that there's 99 others. Yeah,
so who knows? It could be that there's more than her, one her out there too, So, but the one thing I wanted to say too was, and it's going to take me days to get this out of my head. But you know how on TikToks or whatever, they'll ask, what's the best fight scene you ever saw? What's the best car chase? Whatever. I always say John Wick, always. But it is now the Eagly fight on episode 2, season 2. That thing had me, it wasn't long, but it didn't need to be. And it was absolutely amazing. I'll tell you, I was screaming. I was like, oh no, when he pulled the eyeball. I'm like, why didn't I realize that something like that was going to happen? But the way that she kept coming back and just, wailing on all of them, and that walk away, oh my God. How she just walked into the house and stuff, that was so that's like one of the best fight scenes I've ever seen in my life. It was just so awesome,
Yeah, I thought it was completely entertaining. That's the thing, is that, like TJ said earlier, it's like people can feel like overwhelmed with James Gunn's humor, or that it's like, too many cooks will spoil the broth type of thing.
Yeah.
But then he makes up for it with the action and the heart infused with the action and everything like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you so much for calling in. Anything else on Peacemaker?
No, I was just going to say Tim Meadows was the worst SNL cast member. So there you go.
Oh my God. Even Steven's own. You heard it here first. All right. Well, thank you so much for calling in. We appreciate it.
All right. Have a good one.
Thanks.
Absolutely. Wow. Even Steven's own. Tim Meadows getting dragged right now. Is it because of the Even Stevens movie?
It honestly, it might be. I'm not exactly sure. I will say my favorite part of that fight was probably the dive bomb that she does at the end. I thought that was really funny.
That was great.
And what did you think of the Harcourt scene in the pharmacy?
I thought that was great, but I'll say again, the Beaker thing I think went too long. I think it was
I thought the Beaker thing was funny.
I thought it was funny, but I thought it was like a beat too long.
Yeah.
Also, I want to rewatch the episode just because I rewatched episode 1 the other day. And it was really good to refresh on it. So I might even honestly watch episode 2 that we're talking about right now, right after this. Just because episode 3 comes out tomorrow, which I'm equally excited for. But yeah, I thought the Beaker bit was hilarious. I just thought that it went on a beat too much. But even before the Beaker thing, I thought that scene was great with the lady that, this poor woman. I'm like, it's like this woman who clearly has been abused herself, thinks that she sees another, victim in Harcourt, and, Harcourt just basically verbally assaults her, in the middle of this pharmacy. And then the Beaker moment happens, and then it closes out with that great moment where she looks at that help wanted sign, and she is like seriously considering it. She's buying chips off of the clearance table. And I think that it's very interesting that we are seeing this. And honestly, I'm saying this right now. I'm you're telling me for the first time. I'm thinking of this for just the first time now. Chris likes to go to the other Earth because he's like, man, my life sure is nice over here, right?
Yeah.
Don't you think maybe Harcourt, if she knew that the other one was living this great, happy life, I could see Harcourt being like, I might want that for myself. You know what I mean? That would again be something that I feel like you'd have to lay a little more groundwork. Because right now it's like the other universe storyline, and then Harcourt is like over here. Like those two, like Adebayo knows about the door, Vigilante knows about the murder, and Harcourt doesn't know about any of it. Right. And then obviously Economos knows about everything. Yeah. So really Harcourt is the only one of the group that is completely in the dark to what Chris is doing in the other universe, obviously, because he doesn't want her to know that he's thinking about, approaching this other version of her. But I'm only just thinking now about, they're really focusing on how much of a hard time Harcourt is having. And she could be looking for that escape just the same way that Chris is. What do you think about that? Do you think that we could
possible?
See? Yeah.
I don't know how you'd have to like kill the other Harcourt.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's the thing is like, how desperate is she?
But also I do think it's interesting. They're going the way that clearly it's not all like sunshines and roses on the other side either. She sent the text was a broken heart. So clearly there was some sort of issue with that world's Peacemaker before our Peacemaker killed him. So I'm interested to see what that is. I'm assuming that's going to be established in the next episode. But yeah,
wow. You really got me thinking with that. That might have been your best delivery of a little nugget ever on the show. Yeah, you were like, clearly everything's not that was just really well executed.
I mean, maybe it could be something else. Maybe it'd be like, our friend died.
When you said that, I was like, oh, what does he mean by that? And then you said the emoji, and I went, wow, that's yeah. I was like, that is. What do you think about
I'll tell you what though. Yeah. Real quick, even though the text thing that I mentioned did annoy me, the way I was able to write it off as well in my head is when she sent the broken heart, and in my head I went, "Oh, he deleted all the text. It was so bad that he just deleted all the text he had with."
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Yeah, I
so that was a way I was like, okay, maybe I could make sense of it. But again, that's headcanon. I'm making up that. I don't know if that's what happened.
Yeah. So you talked about last week and totally like blew me away with that, with the like, I just assumed that they were good, but now you said it, and then almost everything that I've like watched or listened to about it is like they're all like, oh, so they're like pieces of shit still, right? And I'm like, I guess I just completely like missed those signs the first time. But I heard, I don't remember what it was on. It could have been Geek Buddies, could have been something else. What if it's not so much that, oh, well, on this Earth, they're still racist and they're just better at hiding it. What if the whole world is racist? And it's not that they're better at hiding it. It's just they're living in a world where it's accepted.
Yeah, that's possible.
And that got me thinking, and I was like, wow. And then what a great way to put Chris in a kind of a political dilemma in his own mind of like, maybe he doesn't even realize it at first. Like maybe it's so subtle, or he's just so used to having grown up with that it's like maybe he doesn't even realize it, and then he has this moment where they're like, you know, Chris, come on, put your hood on. What? You know what I mean? Like, and that's the moment where he's like, oh, I gotta get the hell out of here. But also, what does that mean for Keith? Because now, does that mean that, like, you know, I think it would. Do you think I'm right in saying that because the Keith in our world was kind of Chris's escape, right? Think back to that scene where they're sitting next to their beds and Keith is like doing the air guitar and teaching Chris how to do the air guitar. And he's like, you know, or he's teaching him this. He's teaching him like the rock on. And he's like, isn't that the devil? And he's like, no, man, that's rock and roll.
Yeah.
And he's like, you know, this cool older brother that Chris loves so much. I feel like this Keith, just based on James Gunn and how these things kind of go and how he likes to bring that sentimental attachment, I think even if there is something up on this earth, I think that maybe Keith doesn't know about it, or that Keith will remain a good guy in Chris's mind. You know what I mean? Like I just feel that way. Could be totally wrong. He could be the worst one of any of them.
Yeah.
But I just feel like, you know, because Chris didn't like that life that his dad was a part of, and neither did Keith. You know, they both didn't like it. And, you know, I'm thinking back to the finale of season 1 when all the people in the hoods come out of the woods. You know, Chris is like, he's booking it. You know, he's not like, oh, it's Uncle Ronnie. He's like, oh my God, these people are crazy. And my dad is the leader of them.
Yeah.
You know, he doesn't just disapprove of what his dad does. He like is petrified of it. So I think it'd be very interesting, but I do think that is interesting to be like, well, maybe this is a world where maybe it's only white people or something like that. You know, maybe it's a world where racism doesn't exist because everybody's white or so, you know, it could be anything. And this is DC Comics. There's a world where the Nazis won. That could be this world. That could be Earth X.
And I was just thinking to myself too, like, oh, maybe it's a world where, and I think this is harder to swing just because of what we've seen so far. But like, oh, it's a world where Peacemaker is actually the bad guy, you know, and it's maybe his dad and his brother are more kind of the good, the better people and the heroes per se. But then again, I feel like we've seen like pictures of them all chummy together in the house and all that stuff. So I feel like it'd be kind of harder to swing, and just their interactions as well. But yeah, I do think that is an interesting theory that I would not put past, I think, James Gunn for putting that. Sure. There's definitely there, and I something it's not going to be it's not going to be a utopia world. Okay, there's going to be something that is wrong. I can't imagine that there isn't.
Yeah,
like I would be shocked if it was just this perfect world that they were living in. But maybe we'll have to wait to find out. I did see Travis Mitchell's comment about the Bizarro thing. I think that could be an interesting idea to kind of turn it all around, tie it back together. I do think that you'd be kind of limiting yourself if you were to do that, as far as just, I would like, there's multiple universes out there, right? So I think kind of putting Bizarro in this one, I think might be a tad limiting per se.
Or even just saying that this is where like the black hole led or something like that.
Yeah.
Although I totally get, Travis, I totally get where your thinking is on that, because, you know, they've already in the first 2 episodes of this show pretty much explicitly linked the quantum unfolding thing with the Luthor events, because Rick Flag is like, and it's the same energy signature as in the Luthor incident in Metropolis. So they 100% have linked that. It's like, yes, the pocket dimension, this door, it's all some sort of a parallel multiversal travel, you know, the same kind of energy sequence or signature. So I could see that, you know, being a possibility. Or maybe if it's not Bizarro, maybe it's just a, you know, kind of like well, to talk about the high evolutionary, kind of like a counter Earth, you know, or there's Earth X. There's so many different Earths where things went bad. There's just straight up Earth 3, which is where the actual Ultraman from the comics is from, and of course the name of the team is escaping me, but basically the crime syndicate, the crime syndicate of America, which is Ultraman, and it's all these, it's Clark and it's Bruce and everything, but as if they became these big villains on this team, and that the Justice League exists, but instead of fighting crime, they do crime. It could even be that, and that Earth is just simply called Earth 3 in the comics. It's Earth 1's the main one, Earth 2's the second, and then the third Earth is like the one where everybody's evil, just not affiliated with Nazis, because that's Earth X is the Nazi one. But yeah, I literally, that's part of the beauty of why, it's like, jokes be damned, I need to know what happens next in the show, because it's just it's so good, and there is so much. We're going into episode 3, and I feel like the scope is still this wide. It could go anywhere. I don't feel like any storyline is pigeonholed. I don't feel like anything is limited right now. There's really no telling where it's going to go. Kind of like with season 1, where we didn't know what the butterflies were. We didn't really know how the shape of the season was going to look until it unfolded for us. So I'm really excited. And despite, I think, some dialogue and a couple of, jokes, stumbling out of the gate, I think this was another, really great episode and really fun episode of the show. But TJ, anything left to say on Peacemaker season 2, episode 2? Anything that I am forgetting? What was the post-credit scene? Oh, it was more.
It was just more of the Economos.
Yeah.
Which I didn't know there was a scene until I was watching a review and they said there was a scene. I was like, oh, I didn't know. And it's really just like added
more of the
dialogue.
bird blindness
I was
stuff.
like, that I don't need. But no, I agree. I thought it was a solid episode again, except for the stuff we touched on, which is mostly dialogue based. It just kind of felt like it either went on too long, or was a lot of place, or it was just, a little too much in that moment. I did just have a thought. Like, I think if there is anything wrong with this world, I think it might be like a situation where maybe, as we've seen, like, it seems like this is kind of Chris's coping mechanism, right? So he's not like kind of having orgies or drinking. Well, he's still drinking and that stuff, but he comes to that world to feel like he's in a better place. And maybe it's like he comes in and it's like something's happened. Like he walks in on something, kind of like, I'm going to visit, my brother and my dad. And he walks in and it's something terrible. And maybe that's when he's like, oh, this isn't much better than what
this is not good.
Right.
Do you think it'll be something where they have to go in and get him out? Or do you think it's going to be something where somehow he's going to get stuck there? Like, do we think that somehow Argus is going to like shut the portal or something? Yeah. You know what I mean?
I think it could be a stuck situation.
Yeah. And then it's like, well, you didn't have your eyes open to what was wrong with this place, and now you're stuck in it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Or even like he just likes it so much he doesn't want to leave.
Right. There's also that too. Yeah, that would be very interesting. Not out of the question for sure, but that would be very interesting to see if it's like, does he lose all the progress that he's been working so hard on? Is it like he's working on himself and he's becoming a better person since season 1, but is that only because he kind of likes the challenge of, well, can I push myself to be a better person? If he's in this world where everything is coming easy to him, maybe he's like, well, I don't really have to give a shit anymore. It's like, I think that would be interesting. And then what happens if, he goes to live with this Harcourt or goes to be with this Harcourt, and what if he messes it up just as bad as the other Peacemaker did,
Right.
And I think that's all possibility in Peacemaker season 2.
Yeah. Real just quick question for you. This is completely unrelated to Peacemaker or DC.
Okay.
Are you and this is just, I'm just asking this because I saw I didn't watch the trailer, but I just saw it came out. Are you at all interested in Marvel Zombies or no? Are you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely gonna watch it. I mean, I watch all the or tried to watch all the Marvel animation stuff. Yeah, I saw the trailer. I thought that the yes, honestly, okay, 1 second. Sorry, going back to Peacemaker, and then we'll say this last thing and then we'll go back over to that. Imagine Boomerang is alive in that universe, would love him back. Yeah, honestly, to me, this is like, this is not Marvel. So they don't have to write. Okay, Danielle. Danielle, you're gonna get blocked from the channel if you say that.
Danielle's she's really pushing him for Booster
Shane
Gold.
Top. Isn't that the guy from
Smosh?
Smosh? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, she said there's these edits of him in the I kind of see it.
Oh my god, you could edit yourself into the costume with AI. Like, yeah, that's how about I say this? Shane Top for Booster Gold works about as well for me as Camille Nanjiani is Booster Gold. Okay. And let's just leave it at that. But yeah, I do think back to what was Travis back to what Travis was saying.
Mm-hmm.
This is not Marvel. There is no there's no predetermined lore of glitching or I'm in this universe and I'm going to turn into spaghetti and I'm going to cause an incursion. Seemingly he can just go over and just live there. So would that also mean that anyone can come and live in the actual mainline DCU? You know what I mean? Could you see this as, well, if her boyfriend is Rick Flag Jr., is this a way to get Joel Kinnaman fully back in the DCU? Could he just come back through the door and just permanently stay there or something like that? I've been thinking that a lot, Travis, is, it's just a really interesting way you can kind of bring back anybody this method, which obviously is kind of the trap of the multiversal stories, but that could be interesting. But yeah, back to what you were saying, which was
Marvel Zombies.
We were talking about Marvel Zombies. That's right. Yeah, I'm interested in Marvel Zombies. I'm gonna check it out. I thought the trailer, the music, I understand what they were going for. Felt the music was a little over the top. I was like, okay, I get it. We're going crazy. We're going big. Like it was like, all right. But it was a little over the top for me in the music department. But I do think that the character interactions and some of the characters that we're seeing, I think are really interesting. I don't think that Mahershala Ali not voicing Blade is any indication that the Blade movie is any more happening or not happening. I just think they went, okay, 4 episodes of Marvel Zombies. We're not going to pay Mahershala $2 million for 45 minutes.
Right.
You know what I mean? So to me, that's no problem. And there's been voice matches throughout all of What If. So that's no issue there. But yeah, I mean, some of the action, gruesome, brutal, just kind of action for action's sake. But I'm sure it's going to be fun, and I'm sure it's going to be over the top action and probably just a really quick watch. And it's all 4 episodes streaming on.
I didn't even know it was 4 episodes, so that actually that entices me a little bit. If it's 4 30-minute episodes, I'd be totally down for that, I guess.
Yeah, and it's What If, well, it's not actually What If, but you know what I mean. It's the What If style, so if it's a 30-minute episode, it's really like a 22-minute episode,
right? Yeah. Okay.
So
I just realized too, I have not even finished Ironheart. I watched 3 episodes and I fell off. I don't know what happened. I meant to finish it, so I'll have to get back on that one. But I was interested because I saw the trailer and I know that I just felt like it was announced forever ago, and I was like, okay, I guess it's coming out. And then you just say it's 4 episodes and they all come out on the same day, and so I guess we'll see what happens.
Okay. Swinging, we were going to be done, but we got some chat going, so we're going to talk about this chat here. Travis Mitchell, I'll give a hot take. Chris Pratt as Deathstroke.
Interesting.
Him as a villain for the Teen Titans would be such a different character for him. 2 thoughts. I think it would take a lot of putting public perception to the side to get this to work, but I think Chris Pratt as an actor has that in him. I think he's just got to show up in his like, I don't watch the show, but he's got to show up in his like terminalist mode where it's like, I am military man, that like the Paramount Plus watchers of the world are like, yeah, I love Chris Pratt in a role like that. Or like the Tomorrow War. Like if he came movie. As that mode, I actually could see this, but I think you are fighting an uphill battle.
Now, can I just ask, when you say public perception, you mean like his politics?
Like just the kind of just no. I see. No, I just even just the overexposure, the narrative about Chris Pratt of does everything have to be Chris Pratt?
Yeah, I think that is more fair. Yeah, because when you said that, I was like, well, we just did. I mean, Guardians wasn't that long ago.
Yeah, no. Honestly, until he says something really, really bad.
Yeah,
you know, there are a lot worse people to be mad at. Even if you're, you know, some of the things that Chris Pratt has endorsed or said.
Yeah.
But that being said, I mean, for me, like, not that I was a kid, I was very much a teenager when the first Guardians movie came out.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, I love Chris Pratt. I watched Parks, you know, since I was a kid. And then straight into Guardians and stuff. So it's like I have a soft spot for Chris Pratt going back to when I was single digits, and I will probably watch him in everything until he does something real bad, which is definitely on the table of him to say or do. But that being said, oddly enough, and you know me, I'll bristle at something if I don't like it. Oddly enough, with the white hair and the eye patch and stuff, I could see maybe an older Chris Pratt too, you know, maybe another 10 years or something, but I actually could see him as like a Deathstroke. But anyways, next chat, because we have a couple of them in here from Travis Mitchell here. Thank you so much. Travis, I don't know if you're subscribed or not. Please, Travis, subscribe if you have not already. Share this with a friend. Shelly says, yes, please bring Joel Kinnaman back. And a permanent part of the cast. I loved his Rick Flag in Suicide Squad, parentheses, the first one. I mean, he's great in the first one. He's okay in the first one. This katana, her swords trap the swords of her victims inside of her sword. You don't want to mess with her. Yeah, he's okay in the first one. The second one, he is phenomenal in. He embodies that character. He's so much looser. He's having so much more fun with it. And then obviously, you know, spoiler alert for the last 40 minutes and for 3 years ago, obviously his death and the big confrontation and the way that movie kind of builds with his character right before, you know, he dies. I thought it was fantastic. So I would be so happy. I'd be happy to just see Joel Kinnaman back as Rick Flag in the universe. Probably not going to happen, but Rick Flag back in this show, I think definitely going to happen. Yeah.
Okay. Oh,
I think definitely going to happen. That personally,
I think that's a fair. I think that's a fair prediction. I don't think, and I was just thinking, I was like, oh, they could recast him, but I think James Gunn has said,
no,
you play one character, you're done. If you know you're dead, you're dead.
Yeah, even if not that, it's like, you know, he's said many times. Obviously, now we know because of the previously on before. But guess what? We also saw a form of a previously on where, and not even the previously on, the framed picture on Rick Flag Sr.'s desk of him and Joel Kinnaman. That's either incredible Photoshop or a new picture that they took. But my point being, either way, based on the James Gunn logic of, well, if you see it on screen, it's canon. We now know that definitively Rick Flag Jr. was played by Joel Kinnaman. He has the face of Joel Kinnaman. So it's like, if he's going to show up, an audience member who has only ever seen Peacemaker will now expect it to be Rick Flag Jr. if Joel Kinnaman shows up. And I think that counts for something. Let's see here. We got Travis Mitchell says, either have Rick Flag Sr. get a goodbye with his son, or Rick Flag Jr. is actually evil in the other universe, tries to kill Chris, and Flag Sr. has to kill his son to save Chris. I mean, you're talking about things that you'd have to do a lot of work to get there. You'd have to do a lot of work to get to this point, but I could see this happen.
Yeah, like I don't even know how you would.
Incredible season.
How would you turn Flag Sr., who seems to be vehemently against Peacemaker?
I feel like you'd have to. See, this is the thing, is that like this DC universe, we're like barreling down the hill. Like the story is moving. Like I'm like, how many projects in is this? I'm about to say this. I feel like you got to punt it to Waller. Like that's kind of what you have to do is pin it all on Waller, because honestly, it was her call. It was her call to kill Flag, which was like a fucked up call. It was just Chris that had to be the one to do it. So if he takes it as, well, think Drax, right? Well, my beef isn't with, Peacemaker, it's really with Waller. And so then maybe it's that, and then maybe even Rick Flag Sr. goes over there, sees his son, is about to like greet him, and then maybe he's like, oh my God, this guy is like a monster. I gotta help this guy out. That is a lot of work to get there, but 6 more episodes, I think we could get there. And might I say, if this was the arc and it was pulled off, that would be like some exceptional television. Like that would be some crazy shit. Let's see. Was so happy just to see Peter. Oh, so this is for the Marvel Zombies trailer.
Zombies, yep.
Was so happy to see Peter, Scott, and T'Challa again. My guess is each episode will focus on one group, and in the end, when all is lost, Spider-Man's team shows up and saves the day. Right, because if I'm casting my mind all the way back to the What If Zombies episode, Peter, Scott, and T'Challa, or is it T'Challa? But yeah, Peter, Scott, and T'Challa, I think they are all together, because that episode ends with the big battle at Camp Lehigh, like where Cap was, the camp in the military camp in New Jersey that they always go to. That's where the big battle and that happened. And like, that's very East Coast in New Jersey. And then we're seeing people like Yelena with like Kate Bishop and Cassie Lang and Shang-Chi and Katie and Jimmy Woo, very much West Coast people. So I think you might be onto something there, that we might see, kind of a Walking Dead style, different pockets of survivors, then having to kind of team up in a big, like, kind of mega group. You know what I mean? What do you think? Do you think that is what we could see?
Yeah, I think so. I think it could be kind of sectioned off each episode. And just looking at this, like, and I'm thinking about What If too, just considering I didn't watch the second season. Like, I can't wait for all this to pop up. And like,
did you watch the third season?
There's a third season
of What If?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, jeez. Okay. I didn't watch. I don't think I watched either the second or the third.
Oh, wow.
But I was just thinking, like, I can't wait for all this to pop up in like Secret Wars. I was like, wait, what? What just happened?
Yeah. When Ant-Man with in his, oh my God, with Scott Lang's head in a jar flying around with Doctor Strange's cape. That's a real character.
You lost me there.
Yeah. Ant-Man. He's in the trailer. He's in the Zombies trailer. He's alive. Ant-Man played Ant-Man and the Pym particle play well, I'll just say it's what caused the zombie outbreak.
Yeah.
Because the zombie virus is actually a virus from the quantum realm that like messed everybody up. Shelly said, don't diss on my fave Suicide Squad. Yeah, you're crazy. Okay, how about this? Rick Jr. isn't dead. It was the one from one of these universes in Peacemaker, so he's pissed off for no reason at all. Yeah, I can see. Yeah, maybe he was switched at birth. Oh, my real son was never in Court of Maltese. Yeah, I can see that. We got Wakas back in here. James Gunn said in an interview the reason that Rick Flag was killed in such a brutal way was so that no other director would be able to bring him back. So I don't think he is coming back. Yeah,
no other director.
To go with a John Rocaism here, yeah, no other director can bring him back. But I think when James Gunn made that movie, he I think thought that was going to be his only DC project.
Yeah, I think he's dead, though, personally. Yeah. I don't think.
Our Rick Flag is.
Oh,
that dude is toast. Yes. Yeah, that dude is toast. But I do think very much that he will come back. Most likely. I mean, we could see.
Yeah,
definitely not a guarantee, but. P.S. Are we supposed to believe that Frank Grillo, age 60, can be Joel Kinnaman's father? Yeah. Well, they did address that in Creature Commandos, where they said that he had him very young. I think they said that he had him at like 17. But yeah, but also it's like, yeah, but characters aren't their actors' age nearly all the time. Like nearly 100% of the time, an actor is either playing slightly older or slightly younger Honestly, the only time they're playing their own age is when it just doesn't really matter to the character. But yeah, so you could say that Rick Flag is, you know, they could say that Rick Flag Sr. is 59 and that his son, you know, this would have been his 40th birthday, you know, something like that. So you can really explain it anyway. But all right. Thank you guys so much for joining. We had a ton of people watching with us tonight, up to 10, 11 people at once. So we really appreciate that. But guys, we got 10 people still watching us right now. When we get to 10, 11 people, jump in that link and give us a call in. We'll be back next Wednesday, probably at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Could be 8, but probably 7, in that range. You'll be able to see. Make sure you're subscribed. Click that down below. But guys, we had Shelly call in. We had a bunch of you guys talk in the chat. Join us next week to talk about Peacemaker. I know the episode comes out tomorrow night, but Wednesdays are the night that we go live. So keep those thoughts in your head. Watch whatever reviews you're going to watch, and then we'll come back here, and it's like a book club discussion. We're going to discuss Peacemaker every single week on this show and whatever else news comes in. And we still got the chat going on, so we'll read this, and then I think we'll probably call it there. But if you guys want to send in any other wrap-up messages, we'll absolutely read them out for sure. Thank you so much. Shelly says, remember to like and subscribe to the channel. Absolutely. And then Travis Mitchell, we got here, says, while I love the episode, they still never explained how T'Challa gets the name Star-Lord. Yes, exactly. When the name, came from Peter's mother. Yeah, 100%. That's one of those multiverse things. You know, he could have been, maybe he loved Dancing with the Stars when he was a kid. And so he had all the Dancing with the Stars magazines in his backpack, and they called him the Star-Lord. It's just one of those things where you just can kind of make up whatever else you want. But yeah, that is one of those things in an otherwise fantastic episode, because obviously the What If T'Challa Was Star-Lord is a great episode. But yeah, just one of those things you kind of have to headcanon on there. But all right, TJ, anything else that we got to say or anything before we get out of here?
No, I don't think so. I think I'm all set. All
right. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us. Let us know, do you want to see Shane Top as Booster Gold in the DCU? Or who do you want to see as Booster Gold? And let us know why it should or should not be Shane Top, which is obviously the main topic of discussion for tonight's episode. So we thank you for joining us for that. But realistically, I mean, put that in there. But let us know, what did you think about Peacemaker? Are you excited for Man of Tomorrow? Are you excited for what are you excited for in 2027? All those big movies that are coming out. We got a lot of stuff coming down the pipe right here. We got a ton of stuff. Pixar, Godzilla, Zelda is on there, Sonic, Frozen, Shrek, Dragon, Ice Age, TMNT. We have Michael B. Jordan's Thomas Crown Affair. So many things coming out in the next 2 years. So that will do it for me. I have been one of your hosts, Sean Monk.
I've been another host, TJ Cornwell. Thank you for watching. Thank you for chatting. Please like, comment, subscribe. Follow us on social media, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. We will see you next time. Bye.
Shortcut to your dreams, a road straight to the stars on the